Hello and welcome, we are back and we are at Silverstone for round 1 of Tier 2 in the PRL F122 Championship. As you can see, we've got a full grid, something we didn't quite manage for most of last season, so already the signs are positive. And we're on board with Jimmy Pillup, someone who was in Tier 3 last season and has joined Tier 2 as part of the merge. The merge was between Tiers 2 and 3, they were consolidated into one. So there'll be a lot of familiar faces for those of you still tuning in from last season. And for those who are new to PRL, then welcome, and we hope you enjoy. So it looks like the first runner, are they in a Haas? Let's have a look. Let's stay on board with Jimmy. Jimmy's got very good pace. I think he'll provide a nice benchmark. We'll see what the guys are capable of. So of course Silverstone with a new layout. This is the start-finish line. Slight lift into the first corner. Always good to be a little bit careful on a first run. And I see people take this corner very differently. I tend to go down to 2 and straight up to 4. Interestingly, Jimmy holds 4th there. And then on exit holds 2 for a long time, but very good traction. .28.1 first sector. Keeps the rotation in the car, has a nice angle there into the hairpin. Oh, we have a car stopped on track. Is that the Haas? Interesting. Very early into 8th. On exit, I think Jimmy's been quite careful here. But he's keeping DRS. I think he's going to hold the lap. And it's always so important there through Maggots, Beckett's and Cops to get a really, really good exit out of Cops. And yeah, H-Scram with the 29.1. It's a great lap time. But I think we will see 28s. I believe in the Tier 1 race we had 27.5. But I think a 28.0 would definitely get pole. That would be my guess anyway. And there we go, Jimmy with 29.7, good banker. And Scuderia Shep now named AD Shep with a 29.167. Alright, let's see who else is out on track. So we've got Dookie. Okay, it looks like he's low on DRS, so I believe he's banking that. Let's just keep skipping through. Got quite a few runners out there, to be honest. Let's go on board with Northern. Staying in the Mercedes, had a great season in Tier 3 last time around. Hopefully he's not being held up. Looks like it is a hot lap. And a 130.425. Yep, a little bit interesting there. I believe then tacked out to getting out of the way to allow Northern to pass, but of course Northern has now finished his lap, so not quite as effective. And here we go, let's follow Cher. Cher's always had great pace. Now in the AlphaTauri. Approaching Maggots. Let's see how he takes it. So straight down into 7th. Yeah, 6th. That's it, and then he really rides over the curbs, focuses on getting a good exit. That seemed really smooth. So we haven't yet seen the 29 barrier broken. However, it was only the first runs. Only 6 lap times so far. Seems very controlled there. Good racing line. And there we go. We said it, pole position. Well, at the moment with a 128.1. So maybe the 127 times will be entered. But a 128.1 is a great time. Certainly that would have held its own in Tier 1. So I think the 2 drivers I'm looking out for pace-wise, Ramsey at the top, absolutely. I think Cher as well, definitely. Jimmy, I know, is really quick on his day. TAC Delta has been known to have good pace before in previous seasons, so there should be quite some good action in this tier. But of course, with the merge between Tier 3 and Tier 2, and I think a couple of drivers from Tier 1 coming in, It's really interesting. And just in case Chaos, I just saw Chaos's message in Discord, if he can hear me, I do have that issue sometimes with my wheel, and I have to basically turn it off and on again, and then I find that the full throttle comes back. So maybe it's just that. It happened to me in the middle of a couple of races before, and it was really annoying. So hopefully that works for you. Anyway, let's go across. Let's see a full lap. You know what? Okay, looks like Feeman. I think he's starting a lap. But he's got someone right behind him. Is it Northern? No, it's the other Merc. Scallon. Okay, he's given room now. That's good. Let's follow the Williams. So Femi Thrustmaster, everyone's favourite Williams driver. He is on his hot lap. Very good pace, very defensive driver in a good way. And it's good to see some faces back, such as Disgruntled as well. It's good to see him back, so welcome back. Let's see how Femi does. Yeah, Disgruntled is a veteran. And yeah, Suzuki, good to see you in the chat, popping up again. Yeah, it's got good pace. I used to race with him quite a lot. I remember Australia. They did a great job of annoying me, holding me up in a good way, of course. Good racing. So yeah, a lot of respect there. And yeah, I'm doing very well, especially with Arsenal top of the league. I think 7 points clear. Trust me, it's a good feeling. I hope you experience it. Although the feeling of then losing is not so good. And anyway, Femi with a 1:28.6, so very good lap times. I'm impressed, actually. There's some really good times here. A big split at the moment, has to be said, but there's 9 minutes to go. So Northern into the pits, Heiksgran into the pits. They'll have plenty of time. Sorry, Heiksgran on an out lap even. So these guys have plenty of time to do at least 2 more laps. If they really rush, they could probably do 2 more fast laps. You never know. You never know. Tottenham might do something one day. I forget how many years it's been, but you've still got that League Cup trophy, I believe. Might be 19 years ago now, but... Oh, we have a yellow flag, and it looks like... Is it a Ferrari that's spun or an AlphaTauri? Hard to tell. Okay, it's Feeman. That's a shame, but keep your head up. It is only round 1. I mean, I think I pretty much DNF'd my first 2 races last season. You can turn things around. 14 years. It's not so bad, actually. To be fair, Liverpool had a very barren run at one point, didn't they? It happens to all the clubs, just yours a little bit more than others. Another yellow flag. Right, let's stay on board with Heiksgran. I know he's got fantastic pace. He was in the Red Bull last season in Tier 3. And he's just approaching his hot lap now in the Haas. Teammate Tafur as well. Should be a cool little duo there. So we have 7 minutes left! And luckily no DNF, and sensibly reverses very far out of the way. So I think he'll be alright, you know. He has time to get going, get in the pits, and do 1 more flying lap. So really, it's not as bad as it looks. Right, Ramsey. So Ramsey's on his hot lap. Now, I saw him in the Tier 1 race. I was racing alongside him. I think I could have probably at least been with him, behind him, but I span slightly. So I know he has good pace, because we were matching each other for a long time. In fact, he has better pace than me, has to be said. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does this year. But Cher with the 28.111, that is still holding firm in pole position. And he's just sensibly sitting in the pits, probably going to go out and do 1 more lap in a minute or so. Yeah, I think FA Cup for Tottenham is their best hope. Certainly not the league, unfortunately for you. Oh well, at least you have a good stadium. I've actually been there now. It's really cool. I like the, obviously not to watch Tottenham play, but yeah, it's good for live music, and they've got the NFL there. I really like the bars as well. The bars are really nice and clean, and there's actually room. That's something the Emirates got wrong. If you go at half times or intervals, it's just a nightmare to actually get a burger or a beer. You literally lose the entire half time, and you end up getting back 5 minutes into the second half. So yeah, that's something that you've done right and we haven't. But anyway, Ramsey, here we go on his hot lap now. Already a nice start there, good pace. So it looks like we're going to have a shootout with at least 6 cars here. I mean, first to 6 clearly have it in them to get pole, I would say. Do you know what? Jimmy definitely does as well. I've seen him firsthand. He is rapid at this track. We have the spinner. I believe it's an Aston Martin, but it's not going to impact. Oh, interesting. Holds 5th gear through there. Really trying to keep that speed. And holds 4th. Maybe I'm racing wrong here, because I'm shifting down a lot more than Ramsey. It's very interesting. Oh, that was good. I'd say perfect through there. This is it. This is really where you can make or break your lap. The exit of Copse, you've got to get on those curves. Maybe slightly misses the apex, but holds some good speed. And he's just up, only just up. I think he'll be a bit gutted there. I think he had to get a better exit in Copse to get pole. That's a real shame. We'll see what he can do though. Sherashaft still sitting in the pits. Clearly doesn't feel too threatened. I assume he'll be out in the next minute. Oh, it's going to be tight. Will he improve? Oh, fantastic final sector. I have to say, that was unexpected. A 1:28.036. Sometimes when it just looks a bit slow and smooth, that is the fastest way to go, and Ramsey shows that in the Alpine. The top 3 at the moment. Let's ride on board with Vinny. Just eludes the track limits there into the final 2 corners. I really struggle with these 2 corners. By far my slowest. Straight up into 5th. And a 1:28.866, very respectable. So if he has time for one more lap, I think 3rd is certainly within reach there. Awesome. Right, who else do we have? So we've got Cher and Femi on outlaps, but they've got a little way to go. 5th to 10th all in the pits. I believe we have a few minutes left, so I'd expect them to now leave ASAP, or basically they're just going to sit with what they have. But yeah, here we go. I think they're all going to start coming out. We've got a lot of outlaps coming up then. 3 minutes to go here. It's Tier 2, Performance Racing League, and we're at Silverstone. So with 3 runners yet to set times, the 2 Astons, and Arcognito, who's a new driver. I'm not aware of him yet. We know that Baba Yaga and Chaos on their day have great pace. Tac Delta, I think he'll be fine. I think he was it Tac that had the spin? I think now he's going out and he's going to set hopefully a nice lap time. Right, let's follow the leaders, no disrespect to the others. We've got Cher coming up, Femi coming up, okay. And Heights Cranston Sector 1. Alright, we can probably just about track these guys. So let's go straight to Cher. Here we go. Just going to stay silent, just watch the lap. Yeah, where is Revelation from? He was rapid. My word. Revelation, for those who don't know, he was the winner of the Tier 1 race, and I believe he's a new entry from PC. Maybe he's hacked the game. I'm just going to blame it on hacks. If he beats me, it's because he's on PC. Anyone on PC hacks. Oh, an improvement by Cher into the 1:27s. I can't even remember what my lap time was, to be honest with you, but I'm pretty sure it's quicker. Cher's quicker than mine. I think mine was like a 28.5 or 6 or something. It's kind of funny. So will Ramsey have time to get out? Yes, he will. So we really do have a shootout. The top six are definitely going to make it. Oh, he does hold gear 6. He does hold gear 6. That's amazing. Wow. I thought he was going to run wide there, but that was absolutely perfect. This is going to be a smashing lap as long as he keeps it together. Doesn't even need to push too hard in Sector 3 now. Already in gear 7. So we got some really high gear usage. I'm going to have to sort of observe some more people as it goes on, because I feel like I'm just doing it all wrong. That was a fantastic exit as well. Wow, a 1:27.713. I would genuinely bet that's going to be pole, and I would never normally say that. What a lap. But let's see though, because Ramsey is rapid. He's on his out lap, and we've got Femi now coming through into Copse. Slightly down. It looks like he's bailed. Potentially. Either that or he's got an issue because his throttle is not going full throttle. Yeah, he's just lifted off. That's a shame. But he's got one more lap, so if he holds the battery and he's on 87%, that's smart. He's just going to time it and give himself another shot. Amazing. So you've got Hay Scran up. Ramsey's not started. Right, let's follow High Scran. I should really ask him how to pronounce his name. I'm assuming he's Dutch or something and it's High Scran or something. Who knows? Yeah. Any 127 time in Tier 2 is phenomenal. I personally felt coming into Tier 2 that Ramsey was the hot favourite to win. By a small margin. Not a large margin, but a small one. But it's good to see Cher, Femi, Vinny and others challenging that. And that's it. Time up. Height Scram with a 128.8. Provisionally 4th. And Femi is now is on his hot lap now, having aborted his first attempt. And he's currently almost 2 attempts up. So it's fantastic. Let's follow Ramsey. 2.8 or 0.28 I should say up. So as it stands, Ramsey is on track to compete for pole. He just needs to gain 1 more tenth. Oh, and as I say that, he will not be gaining any more tenths, unfortunately. And I think Femi's exceeded track limits. What a shame. What a real shame. I feel like I kind of cursed them both, but we have clearly seen how both of them threw away their pole chances. I think Cher will be breathing a sigh of relief because I think Ramsey was... And let's just follow through with the others. So Blade is down. Babiaga aborts. Arcognito aborts. Jimmy is doing well. He's slightly off, but he could make the time up. Struggling a little bit though, I think just out of practice rather than being slow. There you go, he's made the time up with a good exit. Let's see, he can definitely challenge for 9th here. Being very cautious. Did I actually curse? If I did, I'm really sorry because I'm really not allowed to. Oh, well done. So Jimmy with a 129.626 just misses out. But that's a solid performance nonetheless. And I believe that should be rounding off our session, other than Ramsey, who will go into the box. So this is it. This is your finishing order. So in pole position we have Cheryl Shaft in the Alpha with a 127.7. Ramsey, who was setting a phenomenal lap time but just span it out in sector 1 or 2 I believe, setting a 128.0. Femi in the Williams, I think struggled through Maggots and Beckett's. Little bit of understeer theme to 128.6. Hikescran just behind with a 128.8 in the Haas. Vinny with a 128.8 as well, an 8.66, so 100 down. Blade with a 129.0, really close. AD Shep 129.1, Scuderia Shep previously. Baba Yaga came back, so he was right at the back, but managed to set a great time. 129.3, gets 8th. Arcognito in 9th, 129.6. Jimmy in the McLaren rounds off the top 10 with a 129.626, just behind by a couple of hundredths. So that was a great session. Lots of good times, it has to be said. And certainly, I mean, if you maybe ignore the top 2, which I think I personally could have seen happening, I won't lie to you. Then if you go from 3rd all the way down, it's pretty close, you know, not too many big gaps, and that's really what you want to see. Femi in the Williams 9 attempts off, but we know he has solid race pace, so this is anyone's race still. Anyway, stay tuned. We should have about a 30-second break, maybe more like 2 minutes, but it depends if someone readies up or not, because it's the first race of the season, someone normally forgets. So stay tuned. Anywhere between half a minute and 2 minutes, we'll be back, and stay tuned for the race. Thanks a lot. Okay, so we're just waiting to load into the race lobby, and then we should have about a 2-minute break. But in the meantime, I'm just going to take a little look at some of the season sort of information, such as the races we have, how many sessions, because to be honest, I'm a little bit rusty on all of that. And I'm glad to hear that I didn't actually swear, so I'm not going to get banned. That's good. How do I look at this? Let's have a little check. Season calendar. Here we go. So this season will be formed of 12 rounds. The first round's at Silverstone, what you're watching right now. And then we go to Italy and Monza. And we go to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, Catalonia, Spain, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Canada, Montreal, Austin, America, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Bahrain, I forget exactly where in Bahrain, and Austria in the mountains. So they're the 12 races. Some great tracks, actually. I think especially Singapore could be a very interesting one. I think that will separate the men and the women from the boys and girls, so to speak. But yeah, some great tracks there. Jeddah's always a hard one to keep the car out of the barriers. So yeah, really interesting season we have in store. We're just waiting for the players, which is a little bit worrying, I won't lie. Oh, actually, do you know what? It's not worrying because, yeah, it's just as soon as someone readies up, it shows the timer. So this is all as expected. It's just been a little while. But yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to the season. I think there's some good drivers in Tier 2. And yeah, it's good to remember that it was a merge of 3 tiers. So some drivers from Tier 1 have come down, and also some from Tier 3 have come up. So there might be some little differences in pace to start with, but it's definitely going to be competitive. Here we go. So the race starts in 25 seconds. So I'm just looking. So yeah, Tac Delta was actually in Tier 2 last season. Sorry, so he stayed. So that's one to watch out for. Ramsey as well was in Tier 2 last season. So you know that those guys have got pace. Awesome. But anyway, with all that said, we are back. So we're just going to go on the formation app now. We'll just follow Cheryl Shaft. Hopefully no crazy antics. Certainly the Tier 1 race that just happened was pretty clean. I didn't see any issues on formation. Everyone was very respectful. And wow, I'm just reading the chat. I didn't realise that Shep being AD Shep, or I'm in 7th right now, didn't realise he was using a controller. That's quite interesting. See how he fares. I tried it over Christmas. I did one session, a practice session, on controller, and I was awful. I think I was about a second and a half off everywhere, just couldn't do it. Maybe it's because I'm getting old, I don't know. But my thumbs were not doing anything that I wanted them to. They were getting a bit cold as well. They sort of got cold and were almost like locking up. I don't even know how old you are, Chaos. I don't think you know how old I am, to be fair. Oh, fairs. Well, you're not double my age. I'll tell you that. Somewhere in the 20s. Right, so let's go all the way through. I think I missed 11th to 20th. No discrimination allowed there. Absolutely not. So Northern Canuck, my old teammate from last season in the Merc in 11th. That's a good result. Disgruntled in 12th in the Ferrari. We've got Dookie in 13th. Dutch, the Canadian, in 14th, now in the awesome-looking Red Bull. Tafur racing past Dutch in the Haas. Interesting. And we've got Tac Delta 16th. Scallon 17, he's a new joiner, so welcome. We've got... I don't even know what to say. Is that Corby? Corby C94 potentially? I'll ask him later. In the Alpine in 18th. And we've got Feeman and the Chaos that are showing as disqualified. I'm not really sure what's happening there, but I'm sure I can find out later. Hopefully it's just a connection issue. This is the first time we've used crossplay in PRL. So it held up pretty well in Tier 1. I did hear some reports of cars essentially racing by themselves. But otherwise, it was pretty good. Anyway, let's await the 5 lights. Or 10 lights, really. 10 lights and away they go. And Cher or Shaft gets an okay launch, but Ramsey has a better one and he's straight into first, no problem. Heitzcran's going to follow him straight through into second, it seems. Let's see if we can stay on board. Can we see what's going on? No, Cher holds it. And he's now going to have to be careful on the inside line. And Heitzcran, oh, bit of contact there. And someone's knocked him off. Right, let's move back up. So we've got a bit of chaos. It's going to has to be said, hard to keep track. We've got Arcognito into third. I'm pretty sure. Where did he qualify? But it certainly wasn't that high up. Let's enable everything. Position change up 6. Interesting. And we've got the Chaos Druid up 13 places into 7th. So wow, a bit of chaos there, but. Other than Cher dropping, everyone's pretty much held their own. Heitzcran was the one that was tapped. I think Femi as well. So a little bit of a shame. Hard to see what happened because the camera cut over the hill, which I really hate. Did that last season for me as well. So Arcognito in third, holding his own, and Ramsey must be loving it because we know he has great race pace and he's already in first. Shep up to second in the Red Bull. Phenomenal drive. He is a great racer. Raced really closely with him at loads of races last season. And Chaos in 7th, great job holding his own there so far. Of course, only lap 1. Let's take a look at the tyre situation as well. I should really have looked at that before, but I was getting a bit carried away. So we've got the leader on the hards, and yeah, a bit of an even spread as you'd expect at Silverstone. I personally think both strategies work. If you go on mediums, the safety car is your friend early on. But I do think the hard tyre is actually the better race tyre. I like ending on it because I feel so confident, but everyone's different. Ramsey, of course, with the fastest lap, as you'd expect. And so far, pretty clean. We're already getting a little bit of a gap, though. So the intervals, it's only Shep that's staying within DRS range, really. Oh, and Chaos. Here we go. Oh, just aborts there on the move on Babiaga, who was in Ferrari last season. Right, switch cam. See if we can follow some of the runners that win to make it all the way back up. Cher is close enough to make things happen. I think I always lose 3 places at every race that I do, so you just kind of get used to it. You can fight back. Yeah, I think Femi's penalty most likely to do with the incident around turn 1. I think something happened there. But hopefully he can make his way back through the field. And we've got Chaos holding his own again, as I said earlier. Let's just stay on board. I think he avoided track limits there because he sort of straightened it and maybe slightly lifted. Oh! Good use of the brake there, that was definitely needed. Good recovery. And yeah, keeps the delta, so great driving. So Ramsey now 1.3 up. We'll just sort of monitor that in the background. And Arcognito, having gained 6 places, he is holding it with Shep. You know, he's only just over 1 second behind. I'm not sure how he gained the places, but very impressed nonetheless. Oh, over the sausage curb. As we all know, never ever touch those sausages. I mean, I say that, but I'm being a hypocrite because I think I touched one in Sector 1, the one coming up here, and I went for a little jolly spin. Yeah, that one there, don't touch that one, unless you're crap like I am. And Dookie is only half a second behind now, so he's in DRS range, which has been activated. Let's see what happens. He'll at least close up, but I don't think he quite got the exit. Northern in 10th, holding up really well. So let's have a look at the position gains again, if I can actually figure this out. Here we go. So only 2 drivers with penalties. There we go. Is Dookie going to make a move? He goes to the outside. He's going to be very careful. reminiscent with a Merc on the inside, albeit a lot further ahead to last season with Verstappen and Hamilton. This time a lot cleaner, proving that potentially these drivers are actually better than the real ones. Who knows? Oh, and we have a spinner! Is that chaos? That's unfortunate. He needs to keep his head up. He's got good pace and he's made a good start, so he can't drop too many places. Still up 3 places for chaos, don't forget. One of the only good things about starting at the back. It can't really get much worse, can it? So we got Scallon up 10. Ducky definitely holding his own. Half a second behind. Just needs to keep it clean. And Dutch entering the pits, our first pit stopper, and unfortunately receiving a penalty, potentially for speeding in the pits. That is a shame. Especially at Silverstone. That can be a real ruiner of your race. Nice line from Ducky. Is he going to hold it wide? Yes, he is. And in first gear. Wow, that's a phenomenal exit. There we go. And DRS opens. And he has activated it. Down the inside. That is definitely the preferred way to get the move done. Ooh, definitely. Just about gives enough room. Very respectful. Now to be very careful. Very, very careful indeed. Scallon holding on the inside as much as he can. I think he aborts. Does not want the contact. Close racing, a little bit of contact, but no one spun. And I think Ducky is now ahead, as you'd probably say he deserves. So Cher has closed in. So we did say we'd keep an eye on this. He's now 6 tenths down, our pole sitter. But in the meantime, Ramsey is absolutely loving being in the lead. Doesn't have too much competition in terms of anyone in DRS range. So he's set to sort of cruise around and just focus on consistent lap times. But here we go, Shep really closing in. Oh my word, that was a late move. Sensibly does give room afterwards, but is now going to have a much better straight line or exit speed, you'd hope. Maybe slightly misjudges it, but he's certainly close enough to get the move done. Of course, what you don't want to do is drop 4 seconds making the pass at odd corners. But this is shaping up to be a nice little move into the DRS zone, the first DRS zone, I should say. Yeah, that's how I take the corner, to be honest, albeit not with the bit at the end of the car still there. And that, do you know what? That might have actually impacted him, because he had to lift. That's a real shame. We'll see what he does. Is he going to hang it around the outside, or is he going to cut in? Chooses to cut in. He's going to focus on exit speed. Really nice line there. Good exit as well. But do you know what? Arcognito, he's not feeling the pressure. He's racing really well. That was super good racing from him. So I think he'll survive another lap. Let's see how they fare through Maggots, Beckett's and Copse though. Ooh. I don't think track limits was given for that. Yeah, so Chev really focusing on getting over across onto that curb to maximise his exit speed. Slightly better exit and has DRS and the battery deployed. Arcognito with 1% battery. I think the contest is over, I'm afraid. But let's see. Yeah, share through and with 62% battery, very well managed. And he's only 3 seconds behind, so he lost a little bit of time in that battle, but overall it was worth it. And Ramsey with a 1:32.3 sets the fastest lap so far. 2.3 up now. And yeah, the penalties are starting to come in thick and fast. It is often, I forget the name of the corner now, which is annoying me, but the sweeping right-hander that you take in 7th gear, that's where I got my penalty as well. Right, let's follow some of the other runners. Let's give a little bit of a mention to some of the lower runners. So we got Dutch now in DRS range and activated against Corby, but either the setups are different or he had a bit of an interesting exit. So he's not closed up. And Heikstrand is really closed up as well. Let's not miss that one. Happened to be razor sharp today. And Heikstrand takes a pretty simple DRS move against Tac Delta, who gives a lot of room, which is fantastic. And someone else speeding in the pits. It is quite an abrupt pit entry, it has to be said, and it's also one of the slowest entire pit durations on the calendar. So I can understand why people want to try and reduce that time, but you do have to be careful. It's rarely worth the extra push to gain 2 tenths or so. And look at this, Blade has really closed up here on Northern and Dookie, who are all having a solid race. Yeah, Dookie up 6 as well. I remember him from last season. I mean, just from what I've seen so far, already vast improvement, I would say. That's exactly the direction you want to be heading in. Also impressed that, at least from what I've seen so far, most of the new drivers have appeared to be clean, because of course they're always a bit of an unknown variable. Oh, and who spun? That's, oh, it's Arcognito. Just as I was talking about the new drivers, gained all those places, has now lost them. Hopefully, let's have a little look. How's his car faring? Is he stuck? Oh, Arcognito, you need to pause, mate. You need to pause and reset or you're going to get disqualified. And I feel so sorry for you. Oh, no. I don't think he knows to do it. Well, if anyone's listening, any admins listening, I think you want to make that clear. Obviously, you know, technically it's his fault, but what a gutting way to end a race. That happened to me in Catalonia, but luckily I did know to pause and reset. But yeah, that's the only time you can pause and reset to track, is if the game gets you stuck on a sausage. And as I've said too many times now, just don't even touch those sausages. They are awful in this game. Horrendous. So Dookie is closed right up on Northern. And Blade just behind still. So this little battle was looking really solid. It's been going on for a few laps. Great to see. Good to see drivers with nice even pace racing well. We're still a few laps away from the pit sort of window. Normally lap 11 it opens. We'd expect one stops all around the house, simply inverting medium and hards. Here we go. Dookie, is he going to go for the no, backs off? Okay, showed a lot of respect there. Maybe he's happy with the pace of Northern and just wants to save his battery, but he is on 11%. That could be another reason. He thinks, you know, if I make the move, I've got no battery to defend. All sorts of strategy at play. They are 7 seconds off the next pack, so if they want to progress to the next pack, one of them has to make the move, really. Just a bit like in a cycling race. Got to make that move and push. And Jimmy is saying thank you very much, just sort of closing in on that group. Very similar lines all around these two. And I think that was a winning exit. Is Dookie going to go for the move? He is! Down the inside, the Alpha. The Merc giving plenty of room and concedes position. Pretty sensible there, especially when you've got Jimmy pull up just behind you. You do not want to be messing around there. You'll lose 2 places to Fernando Alonso. The old Fernando Alonso in the old McLaren is what I'm thinking of there. But yeah, Jimmy's pulled up, so Northern has to be a bit careful here, not to end up at the back of this train. It can all go wrong. And then you have Hikescran closing in. It really can just compound the misery if you're not careful. Let's follow from a little bit further behind, and we'll skip up to Jimmy. And round through with a 1:32.1. I believe that was about 2 tenths quicker than his previous. 4 seconds ahead. Jimmy a little bit cautious there. Close racing here. Lots of action all the way through the pack. If I go down to 12, Femi's making his way back up. So he's still 9 places down, but it's a lot better than it was. Looks like his car's okay. And he's now got TAC Delta for company, so we'll follow that one shortly. Let's go back to the train. Let's see, he wants to leave the train. Will Northern go for a move? I don't think he has the line to get a move done here. Yeah. Slightly settling down now the race. But all it takes is one little mistake, and it will all open up. No safety cars either, mirroring the Tier 1 race, which is nice. Personally not really a fan of safety cars. And Blade's just sensibly watching at the back. He has 56% battery, playing the long game potentially. And Hikescran has now closed in and joins the train. Where it will stop, no one knows. And Femi's made the move on TAC, so that's a great job. That was definitely a move that Femi had to make sooner rather than later. But will TAC come back? Because we know he's got good race pace, TAC, and he's a good driver. Maybe the setups are a little bit different there, because I felt TAC had the better exit, but he's losing time with DRS. That surprises me, I have to say. Anyway, back to Jimmy, right in the middle of the train. Ooh, very careful there. If you touch that curb at that sort of angle without traction control when you don't lift, you often do spin, especially on heavy fuel. But I can't really talk because I really cannot take those 2 corners. I don't think any lap of my race I gained on anyone on those final 2 corners. I always lost time. So is Northern going to go for the move? No. So well done to Ducky. He's only got 8% battery. He probably is starting to hold them up now. However, he's got track position and we're approaching the pit window. Oh, but Jimmy's gone for a speculative move. We spoke about the spirit of Fernando Alonso and there we go. Making a little cheeky move. You got Northern almost getting past Ducky, but Jimmy's saying, nope, I'll take that place. Now Blade has really closed up. I feel like this is an opportunity for Blade now to open that DRS, sorry, use the ERS and the DRS. Get a great exit here and make the places up, although I've got some real weird lag going on here. It looks like he's not racing to me. Hopefully the others aren't seeing him like that, because that will be a nightmare to overtake. But anyway, they've held firm. Jimmy has gone all the way to the top of the train in the distance. A simple DRS move, and then he spins it. He does all the hard work. A great job, it had to be said, getting past and navigating the train. Always a game of chess. Unfortunately, as he got towards that sort of checkmate in 5, let's say, he unfortunately binned it. Still plenty of lap time to go. And Ducky is still at the front of the train in the Alpha. Just goes to show consistency is everything. Although, the penalty may come back to bite him. Let's just see how we're doing for penalties, in fact. So we've got 3 seconds around the board. Femi was 6, but I believe the first 3 seconds may get overruled. If we just look at the tyre situation. Yep. The hards can normally go a little bit further, so I expect the medium runners to pit in about 1 lap. If not this lap, you might see some undercuts. So we'll keep an eye on that. Ducky has done really well here. He's held position and he's gained battery, which is quite rare. But let's follow Shep. He's got a great overspeed on... Sorry, follow Shep. He's got great overspeed on Shep and makes the move. It gives loads of room. Good to see. Shep then runs wide. And has Shep spun? No, he's gone into the pits. Okay, so he's aborted. He's pit very early, but that's good. I think that was the right play there. So Cher and Ramsey on the hards, the 2 that we said were favourites coming into this race, are now 1 and 2. And it's going to be down to how hard Cher can push for the next couple of laps before he boxes, as to how he fares. But high hopes there. And Baba Yaga having a great race as well. So the hard runners, I would say, doing better than the medium runners at this point. And don't forget that technically the medium tyre is a bit quicker. Although around this track, I'd say it's a little bit 50-50 on driving style. But nonetheless, they're certainly doing very well. And Vinny, a no assist driver, I believe, in the Alpha in third, which is great to see. We don't like those dirty assists. I don't know if Ramsey uses any. I think Ramsey just uses line. I know Cher uses traction control, so you can all boo that in the chat, I guess. Maybe we should just invalidate the result, I don't know. Back to the train. So Ducky is now... So Blade's got past. You know, I completely missed that. I'm not sure what happened, because I know Blade was 2 places behind. We said he was saving battery, and clearly while Cher was doing his business, Blade went ahead and did his. So from what I've seen so far, the 2 McLaren runners are quite wily old foxes, so to speak. Racing very well. And it's also good to see that we have a PC runner, and it seems to be connecting up. Right now he's not jumping around all over the place. And very nice and smooth there into Cots. Let's see what Northern does. I think Northern does need to get past now. Because if he doesn't get past, he's never going to close up to Blade. But he's just lifting, okay? Interesting. So they're kind of happy with each other's pace. I think the only problem with that is the flashing light of Ducky, his low battery. I think if he didn't have that, I would kind of be in the same mind. But I think if it was me, I'd be going for the move and just getting it done. If anything, you can lead for a little bit. Blade into the pits. Femi already closing up. So I think this kind of just goes to show that this group has slightly slowed down compared to the rest of the field. I think the runners both behind and ahead are faster. And great job by Femi to close up. It's great to see that sort of positive mentality there. He's not let the race start end. I mean, if he was following Tier 1, I believe we had drivers in 19th and 20th coming something crazy like 5th and 9th, maybe 4th, 5th and 9th or something silly. So it just goes to show anything can happen. And that was with no safety car. Disgruntled, the veteran in 11th. And Shep now on fresh hards, just closing into what are kind of back runners, at least compared to him. Some very wide lines being taken here. Ramsey for 131.4. Oh, and Disgruntled has spun. What a shame. Let's hope he can get it around. Yeah, he seems okay. The tyres aren't too bad. What a shame. And Shep now closes in on Scarlett 71, the new runner. And unless my eyes deceive me, this should be an okay overtake, quite an easy one. Indeed, yep, Shep through with the DRS. Oh, Scanlon almost went into the back of him, but bailed out sensibly. And now we've got Tack into the pits, and Jimmy doing really well. Up into 8th now. And look at that. So Femi staying out on the hards, got great pace. And of course things won't sort themselves out until the hard runners pit, but so far so good for Femi, he's recovering well. And Northern and Dookie up next. So will Femi get held up by these two, or will we make short and sweet work of them? The two Canadians. Two Canadians and a Ghanaian, I believe. So Vinny also in fresh rubber now in 10th. That's solid pace, very solid. And we've got Tack just coming out of the pits into 13th in quite a lot of free air. And Blade now behind Heidskranz. This could be a nice little battle, both on fresh tyres. So it's a stint to the finish for those. And Femi has already closed right in on Northern. Northern has actually dropped a little bit now to Dookie. Maybe a mistake. Just struggling with the rotation there a little bit, Femi. I struggled with that all race. Wow. I feel like there's a little bit of a difference here in wings. But there you go, Northern. Is he going to fight back? Great overtake from Femi, has to be said. No, sensibly concedes. So Femi's doing everything right, sort of one at a time, slow and steady, not taking too many risks. Oh, what's happened here? Is that Baba Yaga okay in the pits? Let's try and follow this, because you can get some good action as people come out of the pits sometimes. So Jimmy's only 5 seconds off the lead pack. You know, I did say in qualifying, Jimmy is rapid. He's always been really good, especially in the race. And he did have a spin, don't forget. So I think without the spin, he'd be a bit further up in 4th. The only thing I would say is that these top two that we've been speaking about a lot coming into the race are ahead by quite a significant margin. But, you know, these things happen. And Femi already fast. Great move. Just sort of staying silent there and watching it, but awesome move. So the top three, I believe, from qualifying are now just about 2/3 of the way into the race into the top 3 podium positions. I don't think Femi can do too much more at this point. All he needs to do is build up a 6-second gap, or in this case only 3 seconds, I think is the differential. And I put my money on that. Oh, Ramsey into the pits, so he blinks first. Trying to hold that position and goes onto the mediums. He's only got 10 laps to run on those, or 11 laps. Should be absolutely fine. Seems sensible. Now Cher has to absolutely floor it. But on semi-wounded tyres at this stage. Great battery life though, for both. So both just really controlling the race. Seems like they're not even pushing too hard, frankly. And here we go. All the hard runners now pitting on lap 16 or 15 for them, as you'd expect. So Vinny has done great. So yeah, Vinny, who was, I believe, in 5th before all of this happened, now back into 5th. So net no gain or loss through the pits. And Shep's always up there. He's always up and around in that sort of top 5 position. There we go, Dookie. So Heitstrand getting through, Blade getting through, Dookie coming out, Northern just behind, and Jimmy also coming out. So Tak's really going to close in on this lot, it seems. Or at least only be a few seconds behind. So that's great to see. We'll sort of watch this space, see how Tak fares on the hards. But he's got Scallon for company, so that may slow them down. But we've always got a little bit of action here. I think, considering it's Silverstone, we could have a little bit more. But it's certainly not bad. Very tight line from Scallon. Really riding the curbs, being very careful. Maybe this is a question for the viewers, but if you look at the HUD, you have the two icons. You have the spanner and screwdriver and the fuel can. So I know if the fuel can's red, that means that their fuel is not set to get them to the end of the race. We know that. The mechanic symbol, see here, Jimmy has a blue one. Does that mean he's running assists? How come only a few of these guys have assists? Because, for example, I know Femi, I'm pretty sure, runs assists. Cher runs assists. But yeah, they don't have the symbol. I know Jimmy runs, I think he just runs track line, and he has blue. So I'm not sure. Oh, and who's just spun there? Is that Chaos? Oh, that's a shame. Oh, trying to get out of the way. Not too much you can do there, to be fair to him. He was trying his best. He was sat at a very awkward spot there. These things happen. So Chaos in 18th, a little bit behind, but needs to sort of use the rest of this race as practice time, really. We've got Scallon right on the back of Tak. So we did ask Tak, would he be able to close in? It looks like he's holding his own to the next pack in front, but Scallon wants to get through. Oh! Oof, for a minute there, you just saw something bad happening. Sensible there from Scallon. He's going to take the wide line and worst case just cut in. Fantastic driving there. Excellent exit. Can he just get alongside at the apex? He can. Doesn't use the battery though. Interesting. Tak very much saying, I will have that. However, maybe he knows. He knows Tak's low on battery now. Certainly he's seen those lights. And he's going to go for the move into Beckett's. Oh my word. Great job there from Scallon. Bit nerve-wracking, but gets the job done. And Jimmy using that battery, desperate to get into the train. The train that he did so well to circumnavigate. And then, of course, span. But he's back in the game. Wow. And it looks like Dookie made a big mistake. Just that engine, that alpha engine, just about, or I should say alpha engine, whatever engine it is they use nowadays, I can't even remember. But that engine getting them straight back into it. Oh, runs a little bit wide though. I'm assuming the Alpha Tower uses Honda, but I could be wrong. Oh, and Vinny's doing great here. 4th place, only half a second behind AD Shep. There we go, safety car. What's happened? Who has spun? So Corby's DNF'd. Can we find where that happened? Just so I went to get a glass of water, of course, that was the time for someone to spin. So it looks like it's around Beckett's. Let's just follow. There you go, on the right hand side. Okay, he's gone now, but I think it was just through there. Hard to tell what happened. But that's a real shame. Obviously, welcome to the league, Corby. C94. Don't get too disheartened. You're running pretty well, and it's only your first race. But this does make things interesting. I'd say it suits the guys on mediums, just about. But Ramsey is going to be pretty upset by that. I've been there. It's not great. Cher now has been handed a lifeline after the interesting start. For Shep and Vinny, well, you know, it's an opportunity to see what they can do. Can they challenge? Can they maybe mix it up? Just get stuck in there? You never know. Or at least hold it in there in the train. So this race has really shaken up. I certainly wouldn't go anywhere if I were you. Normally the safety car lasts 2 laps. and then we'll get back up and running. Baba Yaga on soft tyres coming out. That's actually quite an inspired little move. I want to say this is about the limit, seven laps. So if he just keeps it really smooth, just doesn't push the tyres, which is clearly what he's already doing, takes no wear out of them, careful with the temps, he'll get it to the end, and that's going to be really interesting. So Baba Yaga and Tak, it looks like they sensibly took the free pit stop option. Scallon going on to mediums, but similar idea, as has Disgruntled. So yeah, they're just sensibly looking at the deltas and realising, you know what, we can get away with this. I suppose Vinny's another one. So, well, no, not now, it's only 18 seconds, but maybe just before all of that happened, he had a slight opportunity potentially to a pit. But I think the pits around here are 26, 27 seconds, it's silly. It's far too long, in my opinion, actually. They should reduce it, it's ridiculous. But nonetheless, it is what it is. So I think everyone's now pit who will pit. Maybe Tafur. Tafur will be the last one to blink. But no, decides to stick it out. Seen a message from Corby on Discord. It's not a problem. I mean, we all make mistakes. Wasn't intentional. Wow. I mean, I do feel it's going to be a race between these two, Ramsey and Cher. Now, who wins? Anyone's money. I think I'd slightly put it on Ramsey. He's got 1 lap older tyres, but I've seen what he's capable of in the earlier race. He's very rapid. Shep and Vinny though, wow. And for Femi, I mean, Femi has a penalty, which is not great when the field bunches up, but the 2 cars behind him do as well, and he's very quick around here, so if anything, he'll be loving it. Let's just take a little look at the penalties though. So Dookie has a 6-second, as does Femi, but Femi's may get reduced to 3, we'll see. Northern's also 3, and then we have Scallon with 9, the rest 3s. So yeah, Femi's in quite a good place, not much to lose really. I mean, Jimmy is definitely, out of everyone, I think Femi, let me start again. Out of everyone in the grid, I think Cheryl Shaft, Jimmy Pull-Up, and maybe Dutch are going to be the happiest, sitting just behind those sort of penalty runners, or in the case of Cher, just having a chance to win the race. But he has a 3-second penalty. It's tough, but wow, very hard to predict what's going to happen now. Got to stay tuned. I'm just going to get a glass of water, and as soon as the race resumes, I'll be sure to make sure I'm back on mic. So is the safety car returning this lap? It may well be. I just saw a little blink at the top of the screen as I returned. So let's just stay on board. So Ramsey leading, Cher with a 3-second penalty behind. Quite an interesting safety car restart. I actually find it relatively easy, to be honest. No, clearly not, because if it was a restart, that safety car will be very far in the distance. So what it says to me is 1 more lap. The safety car's not even in the pits anyway. So 1 more lap under safety car, I believe. I think the game has a rule where it tries to wait for the back markers to catch up before the start of Sector 3, and then it has like a max cap. So I think if it gets to 3 laps, it will just run anyway. And just to recap for those that missed, I just saw with Suzuki, so the late safety car, that was caused by Corby, an unfortunate incident in, I believe, Maggots, running off into the barrier or something like that. And then, yeah, cool. And then just to sort of recap with the race, so Ramsey had a phenomenal start, kept his own, held his own, had about a 5-6 second gap, I believe, before the safety car. Cheryl Shaft was a little bit shafted, let's say, at the start, down to 4th, but has made his way up to 2nd with some good driving and has now got a good shot of the race, but has a penalty. Shep and Vinny have been racing really solidly, and they're now back in it, albeit on hard tyres. Let's just show that for you. So older tyres and hard tyres, so you certainly wouldn't be betting on them. But nonetheless, 3rd and 4th's good. And then you've got Femi, who had a massive, I think, impact. I think someone went into the side of him, but I might be wrong. Fell right back to almost the back, has made his way up to 7th, and is on the mediums. So he's going to hopefully quite enjoy the restart. Running down the order, Jimmy, who made it all the way past the train, past Dookie and Northern, I think up into about 7th. He then span, so he fell back, but he's made his way back and he has no penalties. So the way it looks now, he's already essentially in 7th. And it's a case of can he get past and maybe challenge Blade. Blade, his first race in PRL, in 6th. Probably the best of the new starters in Tier 2. We had a race winner from Tier 1, Revelation, who was new to the tier, or new to the league. So it looks like the newbies are showing up, the veterans. And yep, safety cars in this lap. And yeah, I want to say Ramsey's Dutch, but I can't remember. So Cher's the Brit, so anyone wanting a home race winner, Cher is your man to cheer on. Cher is American in 3rd place. And I think Vinny's Canadian. Vinny's definitely Canadian. So a whole raft of nationalities here today. Heitscron, I'm pretty sure he's Dutch. I hope so. His name sounds Dutch. I see 2 A's, I kind of assume. But we'll get more familiar with these guys. He gets a nice clean exit, it seems. Hasn't jumped it is the main thing. And Cher 7 tenths back. So really nice clean exit there. Good job from Ramsey. Oh, what's this? We've got Femi already trying to make a move. Oh, we had a ghosted car. Something happened. And oh, that was close. That must have been a millimetre away from contact. And Femi, a great move there, has to be said. Right on the limit, up into 6th place. And wow, the grid is very bunched up. But Ramsey already a second ahead. And who spun? Is it Vinny? Vinny spun. It's an easy place to spin when you've got slightly cold tyres. What a shame. There is no worse time to spin. But Femi up into 5th is a good story here. Can he potentially make it up to 3rd? Who else do we have? We have Disgruntled. We have a Haas really struggling. Is that a lapped Haas that's maybe gone? I don't know. I think it's Tarfer being lapped. Yep, so he's having to get out of the way. It's causing a little bit of chaos, to be honest with you. A bit of chaos and confusion. Speaking of which, Chaos has retired. And already the race has slightly settled itself out quite early, really. So we got Femi now really catching up on Heitscran. So we said, could he maybe make his way up to 3rd? Certainly at this rate he can. And Northern and Dookie, 2 very sensible drivers. You've seen them all through the race. Not taking risks, but having okay pace. And it is paying dividends, even with a safety car. Although, as we say that, the penalty comes out for Dookie. I want to say he's now on 9 seconds. We'll look later. But that is not good when a safety car's just come out. In fact, yeah, it's pretty devastating. I could see Dookie finishing right back down in 14th. That's a shame. But Northern's closing on Blade, and he's got good battery life. And Cher just can't seem to close in on Ramsey. Maybe he can just about maintain, but he's not quite closing into DRS range. I think Ramsey's just managing the situation. It really is his race to lose at this point. Who spun? Someone spun? Okay, green flags. Must have been a very small spin. Let's stay on board with Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga now in the Aston. Everyone taking wide lines. Gotta be careful of that, you know, because someone can sneak a little move up the inside. I've seen it done. Gotta balance that exit speed with a little bit of racecraft. Especially when you've got Jimmy pull up there. I think he did the same move to someone earlier, Jimmy, so I reckon if Baba Yaga makes that sort of, not mistake, but takes that line again, Jimmy will be in there. Baba Yaga all on the back of Dookie, but runs wide into Cops, and I would say now Jimmy is going to be in a good position. Good recovery from Baba Yaga though. Wow. So we've got a whole raft of cars here, all fighting over 7th. Just backs off Dookie. A lot of respect from those two. Baba Yaga on the soft tyre. It seems to have worked really well. And DRS is now enabled as we approach lap 24 for these cars. And Jimmy all over the back of the soft running Baba Yaga. I think Jimmy really needs to get this move done if he's going to close up. And he does now have a penalty Jimmy pull up, so that advantage has also disappeared. It's not looking as good now. And Femi maintaining that sort of half a second, 7/10 gap. Doing really well. Grinding down Heitscran. And I've been told Ramsey's German, so that's good to know. So we've got a German winning at the British Grand Prix. And look at this. It could well be close action all the way to the flag here. Oh, I see Chaos. I just saw his message. So Chaos spinning under safety car. That's, yeah, very annoying. Guess you can call it a Grosjean moment. But, I mean, Grosjean was a Pro F1 racer, so no shame in that. And Cher with another penalty. He has nothing much... well, I say he has nothing to lose, but he actually has quite a lot to lose. Because in pushing to get first... let's take a little look. But in pushing to get first, he is now almost certainly relegated himself down to third. I mean, Shep doesn't have to work too hard here. And Femi gets the move done on Heikskran. We just missed that, but fantastic move. So he only has one place left. He has got 9 seconds of penalties, and I think only 3 of those will go. But still, great racing from him. That should give him a lot of confidence. I think if he didn't have the race that he had, he would have had a comfortable 3rd place finish here. Jimmy now with 5 seconds. Maybe it was a speeding in the pit lane then that I missed. But that is absolutely devastating for him because he was running so well. He's now stuck in a train and has more penalties than those in front. So it's pretty much race over for him. I think the only person we can maybe follow at this point is, I think, Heikskran, Femi, and Cher Ramsey. The rest are kind of stuck in a train. You can maybe see. Here we go. Disgruntled and Tack. Ooh, Tack's going to try and run it round. But yeah, great driving from Disgruntled. And also good driving from Tack there. Just avoids the little kiss. And Vinny is absolutely now in there. Vinny's had a bit of an interesting race. I mean, he was up in 5th comfortably, so I'm assuming he spun and I just missed it, which I'm sorry for there if I did miss that. But down in 13th, what a shame. In fact, yeah, I think Vinny was the one that spun, didn't he, as soon as the safety car restarted. So yeah, that is unfortunately the result that you get when that happens. There is really no worse feeling than spinning on safety car exit. I do it far too often myself. But Cher has, to be fair to him, has closed up to Ramsey and has set the fastest lap time. So if nothing else, he's shown that he has the pace to win in this tier. And Ramsey has shown, as he has been saying in the Discord, that he feels he's worthy of tier 1. And, I mean, regardless of what happens on this lap, you can't really say no to that, can you? You can't really oppose that statement. Shep now 5 seconds off already. Femi closing up with a 9 second. So it looks like it's just going to be these two to the finish, albeit more ceremoniously. But a great race all round here. And this is PRL, Performance Racing League. And it's tier 2, which is now our lowest tier of racing. We have 3 tiers: Premier tier, tier 1 and tier 2. And at the end of each season we promote and demote drivers accordingly. And we have a 12 race calendar. So this is only one of 12 races. That's all to happen throughout the season. Really, whatever happens here doesn't do too much. It just lays down a little bit of a marker. But Ramsey comfortably controlling the race now into sector 3, out of Cops, and very, very well done. Good battery management as well. Femi, I think, is just going to have to try and gain as much time as he can to alleviate or mitigate those penalties. And it looks like there won't be any more moves, potentially just Vinny. But let's follow the leaders. So Ramsey and Cher so close. But Ramsey comes home to take the race win. A very well-deserved and earned race win with a safety car. Cher in second. He should hold that even with the penalties. Let's just double check. Oh, Shep just in third. Wow. To be fair to Shep, he had to push, and boy did he push. Heikskran now into 4th and comes home 4th. Baba Yaga in 5th with penalties. Blade in 6th in the McLaren. Northern Caddick, a great solid race. Just goes to show that strong and sort of smooth and steady can pay dividends. 7th place. Certainly he was the constructor last season, and it was all because of his consistency that happened for Mercedes back in tier 3 last season. So a great 7th place there. And Heikskran with driver of the day. I would give driver of the day to Ramsey, but Ramsey was the race winner anyway. But fantastic driving all around there. Good to see some different strategies as well, and the safety car had quite a nice little impact. Commiserations to some of the drivers though. Chaos, Vinny, Corby I think his name is, Tafur. But it's only race 1, 11 to go. There you go, it's your race winner in the Alpine. Ramsey the German at Silverstone. And yeah, big shout out to Shep because he was on controller. That's a good shout. He is rapid around here. If he was on wheel, he probably would have been up there. So let's just run through our final finishing order. It's only provisional. We have a stewards team. There could well be some penalties. I think that turn 1 was a bit of chaos. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. But regardless, we've got Ramsey in first, Cher in second in the Alpha Tauri, and Shep rounds off the podium with a great controller drive in the Red Bull. Hikeskran in fourth, Babiaga fifth, Blade sixth, Northern Canuck seventh, Femi Thrustmaster eighth, Jimmy Pull-Up ninth, Disgruntled 10th, and that rounds off the first half. Vinny Sips 11th, the Canadian, Tac Delta 12th, great start to his new season in Tier 2. Ducky Hoser 13th, Dutch in 14th, Scallon the new driver entry in 15th, Northern Irish. No, not Northern Irish, just Irish, my bad, sorry. I'm going to get shot now. 16th to Fur, Femin 17th, Chaos 18th, Corby 19th, and Arcognito rounds off the grid in 20th. Is that the Bahrain flag? Interesting. Many questions to be asked. And those last 3 drivers DNF'd. So I hope you enjoyed the race. Again, it's PRL, the Performance Racing League. We were at Silverstone. And what I'll try and do now, if anyone's still around, I'll see if I can get Ramsey and Hikeskran to join the chat, just to have a little conversation. See what we can do, but I can't promise anything. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Oh, Polish flag. Honestly, I'm just bad with flags. I always have been. It's nothing against any of these places. I'm just absolutely useless. I think Bahrain is white and red, but horizontal, isn't it? Poland's, yeah, you know what I mean. Bahrain is vertical. Poland's horizontal. I can't remember. Right, it looks like we won't be able to get any of them on. I think they've taken an early cold bath. I can understand. It was an intense race. But anyway, nonetheless, thanks for staying tuned. And we will see you at the same time next week for round 2. Thanks a lot.